Hi, everyone. I'm Andrew Donovan on WSYR Plus. Big news out of Syracuse University, the university naming its next chancellor and president, a familiar face to those on campus. It's Vice Chancellor J. Michael Haney, known as Mike Haney, who rose the ranks from professor to administrator, including founding much of SU's renowned veterans initiatives. He'll take over from outgoing Chancellor Kent Severud. His job takes effect on July 1st. Haney's promotion was announced Tuesday morning on campus. Here's an extended clip from that event.
Thank you. I am truly humbled and honored and so grateful for the opportunity to stand here today. And you heard some themes in the remarks before me, but I want to start by saying I do love Syracuse University. I love this community. I love our people. And I am so proud and so ready to serve as your 13th Chancellor and President. I want to start, like others did, with a few words of gratitude, because none of this, absolutely none of this, happens without the people in this room and beyond. To our board chairman, Jeff Scruggs, and the entire board of trustees, I see some members of our board here. Thank you for your faith in me. I want you to know I will not let you down. Your dedication, our board's dedication to this university, your investment in its future, and your optimism about what Syracuse can become is an inspiration to me and so many others. I've watched our board lean into hard decisions, make bold bets, and really prioritize the long game for our university, and that kind of leadership is what makes everything possible. I'm grateful for your trust, and I'm energized by your confidence. To the search committee, and I see some of the search committee right here in front of me, and especially to Shelley Fisher and Lisa Fontanelli. I've been involved with many searches over 20 years here at Syracuse University, and I want to say clearly that the process that you led was marked by rigor and integrity and genuine care for the institution. The caliber of the search speaks for itself, and thank you. And to the members of the committee, your service reflects the very best of what it means to be Orange. You added this work to what was already, I'm sure, a very full plate, especially you, Brett Padgett. You showed up with seriousness and dedication every step of the way. You challenged me. You asked me tough questions. You made me better. And I think it's an example of university citizenship at its finest. To the students on the search committee, special note of thanks. I know how much you juggle every day, and you handled this responsibility with professionalism and really in a remarkable fashion. You have more than earned the spring break that you're going to get next week, so I hope you enjoy every single minute of it. To Chancellor Severud and Dr. Chen, you have given this place 12 extraordinary years, and I don't know the right words to thank both of you for what you've done to this institution. You've strengthened it academically, financially, reputationally. You've championed our students and our mission, and you did so with steady, principled leadership throughout some genuinely challenging moments. The foundation that you've built here is one that I will and others build upon, and I don't take that obligation lightly. And Chancellor Severud, to you specifically, I've had the privilege of being at your table now for more than a decade, and you have my deepest respect and gratitude. And Hermione stole my joke. But I'll say it again. I know you'll be wearing a little more blue lately, but to me and to many others, you will always be Orange. To my colleagues and teammates at Whitman and our veterans programs and our strategic initiative teams, we have worked side by side, as Jeff said, to build some very meaningful things. We've launched programs that didn't exist. We've opened doors for people who didn't think doors at a place like this would be open to them. We took risks. We had hard conversations. We built things that will endure. And you set a standard for a very high standard for what I expect out of teams that work for me, but that was not because of me. It was because you set high standards for yourselves every single day. I am so fortunate to have worked alongside all of you over these many years, and I will carry everything I've learned from that experience to this next chapter. To our faculty, 20 years ago, I arrived, this year it's 20 years, I arrived on this campus as a junior faculty member at the Whitman School of Management, uncertain, candidly, whether I was ready for what this university would ask of me. And over the years, I found my footing because of my faculty colleagues. I've had countless mentors who have pushed me to teach better, to research creatively, and to mentor students with care and intention. And I am inspired, I remain inspired by you every single day. The way you carry the academic enterprise on your backs is critical to our university's success. You carry it into every classroom, every lab, every studio, on every stage, in every remote corner of the globe where your research takes you. And you do this work with humility and grace, and often without the recognition you deserve. So thank you. To our staff, I know what you contribute to this university. I know you're on campus before the sun comes up, and long after many of us have gone home and gone to bed. I know you're out shoveling our sidewalks in the dark, and you're at Bird Library helping a student turn an idea into something real. You're at the front desks answering phones, escorting guests, submitting expense reports, and handling 10 things that no one thought to put into a job description. You keep this place running, and often with very little fanfare. I appreciate you, I value you, and I'm committed to ensuring that not only you feel welcome here, but that you have the opportunity to grow and thrive here, and that is a promise I make to you. To our students, you're why we're all here. You're gritty, you're innovative, you're launching businesses before you graduate, you're creating art, practicing your craft, disrupting industries that didn't exist a decade ago. You're winning mock trial competitions and competing against some of the best student athletes in the country. You're in the School of Architecture at 2 in the morning because you refuse to turn in anything less than your best. You're performing at Syracuse Stage and on stages around the world, conducting research that matters, and doing all of that and so much more. You are what makes Orange so special. To our alumni, wherever you are in the world, you carry this university with you, and we feel it. That pride is unmistakable. You are advocates and ambassadors and investors in what this place means and what this place can become. You stay connected because of what Syracuse University did to shape you. And the best version of this university is one that makes every single one of you more proud of being part of the Orange family. And I look forward to earning that pride. Finally, to our partners, lawmakers, government officials, community leaders, our industry partners, arts organizations, thank you for your partnership and your shared belief in what Syracuse University means for this region. We've done some great things together in the past, but today we must seize the opportunity to come together and be the engine that powers one of the most significant economic transformations in Central New York's history. This is a moment of real regional reinvention, and I want you to know without any qualification that Syracuse University is ready to meet that moment. Now, to be clear, I have no illusions about all I don't yet know and all I still have to learn, but I do accept this responsibility with a clear sense of purpose and a deep commitment to all of you as partners. As I said, nearly 20 years ago, I arrived at Syracuse University as a new assistant professor. I came to this institution because of its tradition of excellence, its spirit of service, and something that even now I can still only describe as its character, a sense of purpose and belonging that is uniquely Syracuse. And over these past 2 decades, this university, as someone mentioned, has become more than my workplace. It has become my home. I have lived in Central New York and Syracuse longer than I've lived anywhere in my life. Its people have shaped who I am as an educator, as a scholar, as a leader, and as a person. So when I say I am optimistic about our future, that faith comes from somewhere very real and very personal to me. It's for that reason that I don't come into this role with a predetermined strategy already drafted and ready to execute. That would be the wrong way to start, because it would not reflect the respect that I have for this community. What I'm going to do first is listen. In the coming months, I will be meeting with faculty and staff and students and alumni and community partners. I want to hear from all of you. What's working? Where do we excel? Where do we need new investment? Where do we need to refocus our time, attention, our resources? All of those conversations will shape what comes next. At the same time, I do know this university's heart. I do know what makes us tick. And I want to name that very plainly, because you will come to find that it will anchor everything that I prioritize and everything that I ask that we do together. The heart of this university is our students. I'm going to pause for a second. Make it dramatic. I believe that our students really are the clearest expression of our purpose. And for me personally, they are the source of my energy and my joy for this work. And what that means is two things. First, it means that you should expect a chancellor whose leadership is rooted not only in vision, but in proximity. I will be a chancellor who shows up as an active participant in the lives of our students. In other words, the university's fundraising team, for example, shouldn't be surprised if I slip out of the chancellor's box at a football game when they expect that I'm up there talking to donors, and head down to find a seat at the game in the student section. When I can, I will eat lunch in our dining halls, and during move-in, you'll find me unloading cars and carrying mini fridges up to dorm rooms and politely encouraging parents to go home so their kid can stop apologizing for all the questions that dad is asking. For me, none of this is theater. As many of the students here today know, I do these things now, and I will continue to do them as chancellor because, as I said, our students are the source of joy and energy for me, and because I believe that the best leadership is grounded in human connection. The other reason is it means that our collective duty is to ensure that every student that comes to Syracuse University receives a distinctive, high-quality academic experience that prepares them to lead lives of impact and consequence and purpose and engage the world as they find it. I believe deeply that what happens in our classrooms, our labs, our studios, our performance spaces is not peripheral to the university's mission. It is the university's mission. And certainly this is not a new idea, but it is one that I will ask us to recommit to, both as very smart strategy for the institution, but also as a moral obligation. In the face of all the change and all the uncertainty that higher education must confront, I'm convinced that academic excellence is the engine that will sustain everything that we value about this institution today, and also fuel everything that we aspire to achieve into the future. And I want to say that one more time because it's important. Academic excellence is the engine that will sustain everything we value today and fuel everything that we aspire to achieve in the future. So to wrap this up, the best version of Syracuse University is one that we will create together. I will give this university my full energy and my whole heart, and I'm ready to get to work and I'm ready to serve. So thank you very much, and go Orange.
After the presentation, incoming Chancellor Mike Haney took questions from reporters.
How do you balance your institutional knowledge and experience so far, but also with bringing a new perspective to your approach?
I'll say this, I think the search process was an interesting reflection opportunity for me, because I realized I've been here 20 years. There's still things about this university that I don't know, and that's why you heard me say I want to take some time and and hear voices from across the campus that I haven't naturally connected with in the context of the work I've done here over the past 20 years. I think there is, for the region, there's an advantage to have someone who's been part of this community, engaged in this community. So much, as you know well, there's so much changing in Central New York right now, and keeping that momentum is important. And I think that's one of the advantages of someone who's been embedded in this university and this community for as long as I have. But it's important for me also to acknowledge there's still a lot I don't know, and that's going to be what the next couple months are about.
What don't we know?
Well, I learn about new programs, for example, at the university that I've not been part of. There are some buildings on this campus that I haven't necessarily even spent much time in. I want to talk to students in programs that, for example, that I haven't naturally connected with, because it's important that in the role that I have now, I am a chancellor for the entire university, all of our students, all of our faculty, and that's my mission for the next few months.
Chancellor-elect, you mentioned one of your priorities when you first come in is listening, but they say no rest for the weary. Some other big decisions have to come. We're expecting an athletic director come summertime.
I was waiting to see how many of you asked a question before you got to that particular one. Yes.
So what kind of a timeline are we looking at here? Where are you looking for?
Well,
next year?
so to be clear, I am not the chancellor of Syracuse University yet. And I want to be very careful to respect Chancellor Severud's role and position at the institution while he is still here. That said, I care about college athletics, and I care about college athletics not simply because I'm a sportsman, which I am. If you look at our university's competitive positioning in higher education, one of the reasons, if you ask students walking around this auditorium right now, if our athletic programs influence their decision to both apply and come to Syracuse University, the majority of them are going to tell you, yes, it did. And so it matters that we are a premier athletic brand and a nationally competitive athletic program, not just because it's a fun thing to have at the institution. It's part of our strategy, and so my point is, I will engage. I will be part of these processes moving forward, some of which are already underway.
What would you tell this community, though, about the delicate balance of maybe needing a new basketball coach this month with an outgoing athletic director, with an outgoing chancellor, but now a new chancellor-elect? How is that a delicate dance for all involved?
Well, it's a very delicate dance. That said, we have a smart board, and I think the way decisions have been sequenced will reduce a lot of uncertainty for all of the people involved. This is an attractive set of jobs that we're talking about, whether it's the athletic director opening or potential other opportunities within our athletics program. I think there's going to be a lot of demand, and it's a matter of us ensuring that we signal to the community that we're all in. And I believe as an institution, we are all in.
Will you commit to a basketball coaching change?
We're going to focus on the very
nope.
exciting announcement that is the 13th Chancellor and President, Mike Kenny. More on athletics another day.
So let me ask about.
Oh, hold on.
This is a very volatile time.
It is.
We are talking sports, but we're in a time where we have some political disruption that could be global, it could be local. What kind of commitment are you going to be putting into New Health School as far as journalism and supporting that?
Well, so one of the things I shared with some of my colleagues 3 weeks ago, I attended an event down in our DC Center that was co-hosted between our Institute for Democracy, Journalism, and Citizenship and this new Center for the Creator Economy. It was an event focused on the future of journalism in the face of things, for example, like happened at the Washington Post. Coincidentally, our event was the day after 300 or so folks were laid off at the Washington Post. Many of those folks came, but it was one of the most fascinating conversations that I've been part of at the institution about the changing nature of journalism and how that then plays into our political landscape, our and basic ideas around citizenship. And I think one of the things Mark Lodato, the dean of the Newhouse School, is one of my closest friends here at the university, and I think one of the things that we're talking about is what does that future look like for not just Newhouse, but some of the signature programs. Think about the Maxwell School in the context of the question that you asked. I believe strongly that we have to prepare students for the world as it is, and that means bringing all of this disruption into the institution in a way that it becomes an opportunity, a teaching opportunity for us, and not just in a theoretical way, but in a practical way. I'm sorry I keep hitting that. I talk with my hands. In a not just in a practical way, such that they are prepared for that world when they walk across the stage with a diploma.
Chancellor, you spoke about how this school and this area has kind of become a home for you in the past decades. Can you talk about this school and this area being, becoming a family for you, presumably for you and your family?
I've lived, you heard, I was a military officer for 14 years, and in 14 years of military service, I moved 9 times in 14 years, and not just moved across the street, moved to other states, and the idea of being rooted in any one particular place. This is really the first time, in my adult life anyway. Like, I went off to college at 18, and haven't been back. Living where I grew up outside of Philadelphia, I haven't lived there since, and so this has really become a home for me. And candidly, I'll say this now: when I came here, I was leaving the military. My plan was, I'll stay in Syracuse for 3 or 4 years, get my feet under me in civilian higher ed, and then go on to my next thing. And 20 years later, I'm still here.
And have you been able to raise a family here and engage with the community in that way?
Very much so. So I love it here. I love it.
When did you decide to put your hat in the ring?
When did I decide? Over the summer, this past summer. This is there was an article in the Atlantic 6-8 months ago talking about college and university presidencies, and I think the first paragraph of that article described this job as a form of self-harm. So there's a lot to think about. But the reality is, I would be a hypocrite on one hand to have put roots down and invested in this university the way I have over 20 years, and then to say, this job's going to be hard, not for me. So I think it really, I am someone who has always found deep meaning in purpose, and for me, this is the opportunity to serve with purpose.
And you just interview process like
Inventory.
The interview process?
Yeah, how many did you have to do?
So I think the search launched in August.
Yeah.
So it was long. And it was multiple rounds of interviews. I have a new appreciation for what it means to be an internal candidate for a job, because everyone points to the advantages. It also means that you have potentially 20 years of questions that you've teed up for a search committee as well. So, I meant what I said in my remarks. It was a rigorous process. It was a challenging process. It was also a great learning opportunity for me because it highlighted to me, one of my favorite quotes is to Maya Angelou quote. It's, it doesn't matter what you say, it's how you make them feel. And I bumbled it a little bit, but I've always thought about that quote, and the search process highlighted how true that is, because sometimes I've had the job here of often fixing things that aren't working right, or building something outside the normal academic system that need to be created, but probably can't wait a very long time.
Last one, folks.
And sometimes that, my point is, sometimes that leaves some folks behind. And that was one of the things that I learned from the search committee that I have to be very conscious of.
What's your message to the non-SU community off campus?
This is the last one. We're going to go with a student reporter,
Chancellor,
and then Mike's going to go.
First of all, congratulations. A lot
Thank
of students
you.
are wondering about your principles and morals. Do you think diversity is, or not morals, values? Do you think diversity is our school's greatest strength?
I absolutely believe that, and this is something that Chancellor Severud really championed, and being a university that is welcoming to everyone, all people, is critically important. To me, it's part of what I value. I also believe it makes for the best environment for what we do, which is learning and creating new knowledge.
You can watch this entire presentation again anytime on our website, localsyr.com. We invite the incoming Chancellor, Mike Haney, to join us on News Channel 9 to take our questions anytime. For now, I'm Andrew Donovan on WSYR Plus. Have a great night.
Download the WSYR Plus app on your TV to stream News Channel 9 for free. Just go to your smart TV, search WSYR Plus in the App Store, and download to start streaming today.